Joaquín Guzmán Loera, a name whispered in fear, revered with morbid fascination. Joaquín Guzmán Loera, better known to the world as El Chapo, is a figure whose very mention sends shivers down the spine of many. Known to the world as El Chapo, Shorty, he rose from the dusty backwaters of Sinaloa, Mexico, a place where opportunities were scarce and dreams were often crushed by the harsh realities of life. To become a legend in the drug underworld, his journey from a poor rural boy to a feared drug lord is nothing short of extraordinary. El Chapo, a man of short stature but towering ambition, was not deterred by his humble beginnings. He had a vision, a dream to rise above his circumstances, and he pursued it with relentless determination, took the reins of the Sinaloa Cartel. Under his leadership, the cartel grew exponentially, becoming one of the most powerful and feared criminal organizations in the world. He transformed it into a global empire, a hydra with tentacles reaching every corner of the world. His operations spanned continents, and his influence was felt far and wide. A hydra with tentacles reaching every corner of the world. His ruthlessness was legendary, his cunning unmatched. El Chapo was not just a drug lord, he was a master strategist, always staying one step ahead of his enemies and the law. El Chapo built a network of corruption that stretched from the highest echelons of power, infiltrating government institutions and law enforcement agencies. His reach was so extensive that it seemed no one was beyond his influence. Down to the local police. He became a phantom, a ghost story whispered in the shadows. His ability to evade capture and continue his operations made him a living legend. A ghost story whispered in the shadows. His name alone was enough to inspire fear and obedience. People spoke of him in hushed tones, aware that even the slightest misstep could bring his wrath upon them. His name alone was enough to inspire fear and obedience. But El Chapo craved more than just power. He craved the legend. He wanted to be seen as untouchable, invincible. But El Chapo craved more than just power, he craved the legend. He wanted to be seen as untouchable, invincible. His ambition knew no bounds, and he was willing to go to any length to achieve his goals. He wanted to be seen as untouchable, invincible. And what better way to cement this image than to do the unthinkable? And what better way to cement this image than to do the unthinkable? To escape from the most secure prison in Mexico? His escape was a testament to his ingenuity and audacity, further solidifying his status as a criminal mastermind. To escape from the most secure prison in Mexico? This daring feat was not just about freedom, it was about sending a message to the world that El Chapo was unstoppable, a force to be reckoned with. Altiplano Prison, a name that strikes fear into the hearts of even the most hardened criminals. A fortress of concrete and steel, standing tall and imposing against the Mexican landscape. Designed to hold Mexico's most dangerous criminals, it is a place where escape is deemed impossible. This was where El Chapo, the infamous drug lord, found himself in 2014, after finally being captured by Mexican authorities in a dramatic operation that made headlines worldwide. The world breathed a collective sigh of relief, believing that justice had finally been served. The reign of terror, it seemed, was finally over. Celebrations erupted in the streets, and headlines declared the end of an era. Altiplano was no ordinary prison. It was a high-security fortress equipped with the latest technology. It boasted state-of-the-art security systems, constant surveillance, and a network of guards notorious for their vigilance. Every corner of the prison was monitored, every movement scrutinized. The guards were ever watchful, their eyes missing nothing. El Chapo, the master of escape, was confined to a small concrete cell, a cell designed to break the spirit of any man. His every move was monitored. Cameras followed his every step, and guards watched his every action. The world watched, waiting to see if the legend could live up to his name. Discussions buzzed in cafes and newsrooms alike. But within the cold, sterile walls of Altiplano, a plan was already brewing. Whispers and secretive glances hinted at something more. A plan so audacious, so brazen, that it seemed ripped from the pages of a Hollywood thriller. Tools were hidden, plans were drawn. El Chapo might have been behind bars, but his spirit, his ambition, remained unbound. His eyes, filled with determination, told a story of resilience and unyielding will. Whispers. That's how it started. In the dead of night, when the prison was at its quietest, the whispers began to spread. They were soft, almost imperceptible, but they carried a weight of hope and desperation. Faint murmurs in the darkness passed from cell to cell, like a secret code that only the desperate could understand. Each whisper carried a promise, a glimmer of hope in a place where hope was a rare commodity, a secret too dangerous to be spoken aloud, yet too powerful to be kept silent. The whispers were a lifeline, a thread connecting the inmates in their shared dream of freedom. The whispers spoke of freedom, of a chance to cheat fate, to defy the iron grip of Altiplano. They spoke of a plan, a daring escape that seemed impossible yet tantalizingly within reach. At the heart of this conspiracy was El Chapo, the mastermind. His name alone was enough to inspire both fear and respect. He was a legend, a man who had defied the odds time and again. He knew that escape from Altiplano would require more than just brute force. It would need a plan so meticulous, so detailed, that it would leave no room for error. Every step had to be calculated, every move anticipated. It would require meticulous planning, nerves of steel, and a network of loyalists willing to risk everything. His reputation preceded him, and his men were ready to follow him to the ends of the earth. El Chapo's men, both inside and outside the prison walls, were ready to move mountains for their leader. They were his eyes and ears, his hands and feet, executing his orders with unwavering loyalty. Money, as always, was no object. It flowed like water, greasing the wheels of the elaborate machine that was being set in motion. Bribes were paid, favors were called in, and alliances were forged. Millions of dollars exchanged hands, greasing the palms of corrupt officials and buying the silence of those who knew too much. Every transaction was a step closer to freedom. The stage was set for one of the most daring prison breaks in history. The whispers had grown into a roar, a collective cry for freedom that could no longer be contained. The plan was in motion and there was no turning back. A mile away from the prison, hidden beneath the unassuming facade of a construction site, a team of engineers worked tirelessly, driven by a potent mix of fear and loyalty to El Chapo. They were tasked with the impossible, to build a tunnel leading directly into El Chapo's prison cell. This was no ordinary tunnel. This was an engineering marvel, a testament to human ingenuity and desperation. Reinforced with steel beams, equipped with lighting and ventilation, the tunnel was a subterranean lifeline. It stretched for over a mile, a physical manifestation of El Chapo's unwavering will to escape. The audacity of the plan was staggering. The tunnel's trajectory had to be calculated with pinpoint accuracy. The risk of discovery was ever present, and failure was not an option. July 11, 2015. Under the cloak of darkness, El Chapo prepared to make his move. The moment of truth had arrived. He entered the small, custom-built shower stall in his cell, the only area not under direct camera surveillance. His heart pounded in his chest. Below the cold tile floor, a team waited anxiously. The final section of the tunnel had been breached, and the way to freedom lay open. El Chapo, with the weight of 1,000 eyes upon him, disappeared into the earth. He climbed aboard a waiting motorcycle and roared into the tunnel's darkness. For over an hour, the world remained oblivious. El Chapo, the world's most wanted criminal, was no longer behind bars. He was gone, vanished into thin air, leaving behind a legacy of corruption and a prison in chaos. News of El Chapo's escape spread like wildfire. Headlines screamed his name. Governments scrambled. The world watched in disbelief. The audacity of the escape, the sheer brazenness of it all, sent shockwaves across the globe. In Mexico, the escape was a national embarrassment. It exposed the deep-rooted corruption that plagued the country, the ease with which money could buy power and silence. The government, already struggling to maintain control, faced a wave of criticism and distrust. For El Chapo's rivals, the escape was a sign of weakness, an opportunity to exploit the power vacuum. The drug trade, a brutal and unforgiving business, braced itself for a new wave of violence. The manhunt began immediately. Thousands of Mexican soldiers and police officers were deployed. Helicopters buzzed overhead, roadblocks choked the highways. The authorities were determined to recapture El Chapo, to salvage some semblance of control. But El Chapo was a phantom, a master of evasion. He moved through the mountains and deserts of Sinaloa like a ghost, protected by a network of informants and loyalists. He was a legend, and legends were not easily caught. The chase became a desperate game of cat and mouse played out on a national stage. Each close call, each near capture, only served to enhance El Chapo's mystique. Months turned into weeks, weeks into days. The pressure mounted. The net closed in. Finally, on January 8, 2016, El Chapo's luck ran out. He was cornered in a safe house in Los Mochis, Sinaloa, his legend shattered by a hail of bullets. His recapture was a major victory for the Mexican government, a much-needed boost to their tarnished image. El Chapo was extradited to the United States, where he faced a litany of charges. The legend, it seemed, had finally been brought to justice. But the story of El Chapo is more than just the story of one man's rise and fall. It is a story about the allure of power, the corrosive effects of corruption, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. El Chapo's escape from Altiplano prison will forever be etched in the annals of criminal history. It stands as a testament to the ingenuity, audacity, and ruthlessness that can flourish in the shadows. But it also serves as a chilling reminder of the fragility of justice and the enduring power of corruption. His story is a cautionary tale, a reminder that the pursuit of power, unchecked by morality or the rule of law, can have devastating consequences. It is a story that continues to resonate today, a stark reminder of the challenges we face in a world where the lines between good and evil are often blurred.